Well, joining me to unpack this and other equities market stories today is Mukhtar Mohammed, the CEO, Asha Investments Limited. Thank you, Mukhtar, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
All right. I'd like us to begin with Access Corporation. You know, on Wednesday night, it announced the appointment of Aigboje Imoukhuede as the chairman of Access Holdings PLC. I mean, I guess that was not far from your expectations. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe what's probably a surprise you would have been the position. Let me get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, like you said, that was not surprising. I think I was telling a friend a week, maybe like 2 weeks ago, and I said I think the best person that would be suitable to take over from him would be Aigboje Imoukhuede. But again, we must know that the post of the executive chairman is a ceremonious position. It's not supposed to be involved to the day-to-day running of assets. But we know how it works in this. I mean, he would definitely have a say because of the kind of relationship he had with the late Dr. Herbert Wigwe. So I'm not surprised. Expected, and I for one also expected it to come true. It's just I told a friend it's just like the scenario we had when Apple got Steve Jobs out of Apple, and when Apple was struggling, they said bring back Steve Jobs, and that was the turning point in Apple to where they are today. But this time is a different scenario because Access Bank is not struggling, but the founder is gone. So definitely, most people were looking forward for him, Aigboje Imoukhuede taking over because even his retirement, leaving the bank 10 years ago. Remember, it has to do with the policy that was brought in at that time by the then CBN governor. So, but he's been up and doing. He's been involved in a lot of things. So I think it's a very, very good appointment for the bank, and the investors are excited about it.
Oh, wow. So let's talk about, how the market responded to his appointment.
Very positive, very positive. At a point, Access Bank was on a full beat, but at the end of the day, it didn't end up on full beat, but at least it closed the day positive. And that positivity hopefully will continue. But again, like I said, investors know what to expect of him, know his antecedent, knows that every decision that has been taken, he had a say with the late Dr. Herbert Wigwe. And you mustn't forget that he's also one of the majority shareholders of Access Holding, that is Aigboje Imoukhuede. So he still has a stake there also, even if he's also the chairman of Coronation Merchant Bank. But we don't think there'll be clashes of interest because that's a merchant bank and he's a chairman of a full commercial bank that are involved in it. So definitely it's exciting times. Looking forward to what will happen with Access Banks with him as the chairman.
All right, so let's talk about some innovations or some of the things you expect him to do or bring to the table, looking at his antecedent.
Well, nothing much than what we've seen of Access all the while. Like I said, it was not like he was out of the picture. Even the incident that happened, the late Herbert Wigwe was on his way also to meet up with Aigboje Imoukhuede in Las Vegas before the incident happened. So definitely, we expect more of those, what we've been seeing. We expect more of synergy. We expect more of assets acquisition of banks, especially across sub-Sahara Africa. We also expect that we'll see the coming together of the holding structure. It has not really come together, and that's what we're looking for. What Herbert Wigwe was telling investors that very soon we'll see those bottom lines and begin to show the efficiency of some of these holding companies that they were purchasing and some of those things that they were involved in. So hopefully we know that he will continue with those decisions, and then we'll begin to see the results in the bottom line. That's what every investors want to be. Remember, like you said, it was 10 years as the CEO, and at that time the bank was at a low of about came to the market at a low of less than ₦1. At the time he was going, I think the bank was selling almost for ₦11. So that tells you the type of person that he is. He's a shareholders type of person, and that's why the shareholders are very delighted to have him.
All right, one more question on this particular company before we move on. I remember before now, whenever we talk about Access Bank, we say that, look, if you're going to be a shareholder, you need to be someone who is looking at maybe the mid-term, or you're looking at the long term. It's not necessarily for people who are playing, beg your pardon, in the short term as a result of its expansion activities. Is that still the case now?
Definitely. Definitely. I don't think anything will change. Rather, we'll even see more acquisition. I remember they want to be the one of the 5 largest bank in Africa. I remember that's why I said Aigboje Imoukhuede, when they took over, they said they're going to be one of the 10 largest bank in Nigeria. They achieved that. The next thing they said they want to be one of the 5 largest bank in Nigeria. They've done that. And they've not even done that. They've done it in style because they were the first Nigerian company to make a profit after tax of $1 trillion, and also the first Nigeria. I mean, in the banking space, they have the highest number of in terms of asset base on customer network because of their purchasing of Intercontinental Bank. So they've done a lot of things, and so the whole idea of Access Bank, that's why people are excited, is that when they came to the market, their own idea of banking was to buy distressed institution and turn them around, and that has been their trademark ever since they've been here, and that has been what they are trying to recap in every part of the world they've gone to.
All right, so away from that, let's get into the equities market proper now. There was a lull in trading activities on the local bourse. I mean, you can see that in the transaction volume on Thursday. It dropped to 226.31 million units from Wednesday's 326.95 million units. Talk to us, what do you think is responsible or could be responsible for that?
Well, perpetual investors are doing what we call portfolio reshuffling. A lot of investors are doing portfolio reshuffling. A lot of investors are moving their fund, made a lot of capital appreciation to the fixed income space, and then a lot of investors are now waiting just waiting to get the results of some of these companies, especially the banking sector, because up till now we thought that we should start getting those results. So it's causing a little bit of apathy for investors. Investors are not really sure what to expect because before now, sometimes we see those results, particularly even if it's from tier 3 bank or tier 2 banks, it gives you a pointer of what will happen in the tier 1 banks. So what we are seeing there's a lot of low in terms of activity because most of the companies at this moment are supposed to be releasing their results. So investors are waiting for those results to come in, either to cash in or to cash out, or they're already in and they are thinking of improving their position in these equities.
All right, so does it seem to you that this current bull run will be sustained? I mean, it's sort of slowing down. Do you think it's going to be sustained, or we'll get to the point where it just gets bearish?
Roberto, I know what I always say to you, and the stock market is not a straight line, it's a curve. So you see those ups and downs coming in. And so, and that's why I always advise people, if you are playing the stock market, you don't look for the short term, you look for the long term. So definitely we expect that bearish will come in, but we don't expect it to last. That will be a buying opportunities, especially to those investors. You know, I was saying that we have 2 classes of investors in the market now. We have the hunters and we have the farmers. And the hunters are the ones that are looking for bargain and earning. They want to hit it now and then go away. The farmers are the ones that are looking for, oh, this company has done very well. I can plant my seed in this company, water it over the years, and have a big return. So that is the space that we are at the moment. I don't think the bearish sentiment give a lot of investors chance to coming back to the market, those that have left the market. And also the bearish sentiment, we have those that are in the market to acquire more. But in the long run, it has to be the economic policies that will determine the full movement in terms of where bullish trend in the market.
All right, talking about economic policies, which of them are you probably referring to? We know that today is the 15th, and to a very large extent, we're expecting a key data, which is inflation figures. But talk to us, what are the catalysts, are we expecting to feel, positive movement in the market?
Well, the catalyst has to be with the results, earnings seasons. Ordinarily, by now, we would have seen some results. Those are the big catalysts. Yes, we might have those numbers in terms of inflation and that. But those numbers have not really been able to impact the markets the way we expect them to be, because some of these companies that are the key driver of this inflationary pressure are not yet listed in the equity market. So you definitely will see those things playing out in the near future. But for now, I think where investors are more concerned about how the market is moving, and then again how to take position for some of these equities that are selling at a low.
All right, let's take a look at the sectoral performance now from yesterday's market, or even maybe during the course of the week so far. Now, looking at the sectors, we have seen considerable movements in the banking space. However, talk about oil and gas, insurance, and some other indices that seem to be playing catch up. I mean, let's look at yesterday. An example is the sell pressure in ICO, AXA Mansard, Universal Insurance, and even Suno Assurances, making the index close in the negative territory. What's the sentiment really? What's that about?
The sentiment in insurance have not been bullish. I mean, insurance is a space where played by traders. So you see the volatility in that area. You don't see the bullishness of the insurance sector. And it is a sector that ordinarily should be driving the market with the kind of population we have. But unfortunately, most Nigerians so much don't believe in insurance. In big developed economies, insurance are buying off banks. But in our own years, it's the other way around. Banks are buying off more insurance companies. So definitely insurance have not closed the saving glue right from their public offer, their private placement, the time they were to recapitalize. A lot of investors went there thinking that they are going to do what the banks did. Unfortunately, they've not lived up to that. And so I'm not surprised when you see those numbers in the insurance sectors very low. It is definitely not something you are proud of, but it's something that definitely will continue to happen. Remember, most of these stocks in these sectors are still penny stocks. So investors look at that also. And it's one of the areas whereby a lot of trading in terms of stocks are ongoing, especially for retail investors. So I'm not surprised. For the consumer goods sector, usually me surprised. The earning capability of Nigeria has gone down. So most Nigerians are not earning very well. So they are not buying. The one that used to buy two things will buy one now. So that also is a challenge to that sector. Production in terms of gasoline has gone up. Production costs also have gone up in descent of even transportation of those goods from point A to point B. So, and also the tariff in terms of tax, in terms of some of the goods they bring outside the country, especially those machines that will need tariff have gone up. So that side is not exciting investors yet, but you could see a lot of good opportunity there. I could still advise investors to go and like if you want to be the farmer investors, that is the space to play. For the conglomerate, I think they've done very well, but there's still more room for them to perform. For the cement sector, I think it seems to be the key driver of the Nigeria economy as it stands, and that is not about to change for now. But hopefully, other sectors will catch up with them.
I wanted you to just, talk about the oil and gas sector, maybe for 30 seconds before we move on.
But the oil and gas sector, you usually be surprised what's happening. Today we are hearing there's subsidy, tomorrow there's no subsidy, today they are paying subsidy. So definitely that sector have been impacted by the policies that came in and are now don't seem to see the light of the day. Remember when the policy was announced by Mr. President, the two sectors that have really moved the market at that time was the oil and gas sector and the financial sector when we talk about the banking sector. But as it stands now, today we hear that we are paying subsidy, tomorrow we are not paying subsidy. Most of these companies we intend that they were going to be big players, and some of them tied their big play into Dangote refinery, and people were looking at the numbers, especially stock like Eternal Oil. They were announced to be one of the partners that partner with Dangote refinery. But unfortunately, that refinery too have not seen the light of day. And so you expect some of these things. So when you make a pronouncement in the market, people respond to the pronouncements, see that there will be a good return. And once you are not following up with that pronouncement, that's what really happened. And that's what's happening to this insurance space at the moment.
All right, generally speaking, what would be your recommendations or, your thoughts for investors and traders moving forward?
Moving forward, I ask every trader to be a farmer rather than to be a hunter. Look for the bargain hunting. Yes, you could play, but again, look for it to hold for a while, because that's the key now. And the economy is still fragile, but again, depending on the equity that you are in, there's still a lot to be made in the equity market. Nigerian equity market is still very, very cheap comparable to some equity market in the world.
All right, so let's look at this particular company news. It's about Airtel Africa. It's been in the news lately, from its $100 million share buyback, which of course the first tranche started March 1, to Bloomberg's insider report on plans to list its mobile money business on the stock exchange, even though there is still conversations are probably still ongoing about where exactly, whether it's the UAE or the London Stock Exchange and all of that. So tell me, what do you make of these? And, what more do we need to know about that particular stock?
Well, that particular stock has been in the market for a very long time, and it came in at a very high price, and it's one of the most expensive stocks in the market. But again, there's still a lot of value there when you look at the sector that they play. But again, what are you seeing there, Perpetua, is a repeat of what we saw in Transcorp PLC, where they thought that the company is not getting value in terms of its worth listed all together with Transcorp. I think that's the same thing they're saying with Airtel Africa. So they will have to unbundle it and unbundle it. Unfortunately, again, for them to unbundle it, they will need to talk to some of the radio station, and also they have to do a lot of work in terms of getting investors really realize in terms of their bottom line, because that stocks are, like I said, has been going up. But again, in terms of volume, there seems not to be volume in that space. So a lot of investors don't have those holdings. So I hope that before you go into the market, they will create that availability in terms of volume, so that investors can be able to be partaker of the wealth they are trying to create by bringing in foreign investors.
All right, so what do you make of the share buyback in 30 seconds?
Well, share buyback is all about telling the investors know that you have confidence in your shares. And, I've said it in your program. That is what I think our CBN should have been doing, buying back our Naira, using dollars to buy back our Naira to create confidence in the system. I think it's a good move they have done, trying to bring confidence in the system, saying that, that means our companies are undervalued. But like I said, what we'll see is what has happened to Transcorp. So by the time you are listing the mobile money aspect, which they think is worth over 4.41 billion, and as of today, the total value of Airtel Africa is about 4 point something. 2 point something. They feel is on the price, so that's why they are trying to unboggle it. And so hopefully, we'll see those numbers. But my fear has always been, I hope investors will be able to have the space to purchase these funds and these shares, also not the shares will just be listed and you just see them going up, but you are not seeing them. So that is, for me, will be my greatest worry. But as it stands now, I think with what they are saying is going to be a good buy, and it's still relatively cheap when you look at the mobile space money, mobile banking space, and the kind of profit that have driven that sector, and especially in Nigeria. So still more to come from them, and investors that will key into it benefit at the long run.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us on the show today, Mukhtar Mohammed, CEO, Asha Investments Limited.
Thank you for having me, Perpetua. My pleasure always.
All right.